Well, hello and welcome to another Faith, Philosophy and Life with me, Mr. Shelton. It's great to see you, and I do hope that you are doing well. Behind me then are 10 very quick questions. Let's see how many of those you can whittle off. You can write the answers down or just think about them. It's up to you. Pause me, as usual. Okay, so let's see how many of those we got right. So, Jesus was born in Bethlehem. He was born between 7 and 4 BC. Now, he wasn't born in 0. There is no such thing as 0. When they dated the calendar, it's often assumed now that people dated it incorrectly. So, looking at the way the stars are, Jesus was probably born somewhere between 7 and year 4 BC. How did Jesus die? He was crucified. What's a disciple? It's a follower of Jesus. How many disciples did he have? Well, he had 12, but you could possibly add 13 to that if you included Mary Magdalene. She wasn't one of the official ones, but she was there an awful lot. And you've also got Martha, who was also around, so maybe even 14. What do Christians believe happened to Jesus after his death? He was resurrected, he came back to life. What does the word ascension mean? It means to go up. Christians believe that Jesus went back up to heaven. What religion did Jesus belong to? He was a Jew. He was not a Christian. Christianity did not start to exist until probably 30 years after Jesus' resurrection. So, if you'd written Christian down for that, you are wrong, I'm afraid. Who was Jesus' mother? That was Mary. And suggest one thing Jesus did. Well, obviously, that is down to you to suggest, because there are more than I've got time to go through now. So, in today's lesson, we're going to look at what titles are given to Jesus. And I have got titles with a capital T. Make sure you grab your pen and your piece of paper because you're going to need to make some notes, send them all through to your teacher, and here is our cheesy intro music. Lovely. So, what titles are given to Jesus? Make sure you've got that down. Our learning objective is to consider what the titles given to Jesus show about who he was. And yes, I've put a capital H for he because that's what we do when it comes to Jesus and God. It's going to be good if we can read out 3 titles about Jesus. It's going to be great if we can explain why these titles can add some understanding about who Jesus was. It's going to be even better if you can match these titles with their correct definitions. So let's start with this. It's a who am I challenge. There are 3 things here. I am a pet owner. I do indeed have 2 little cats and a load of fish. The cats like to eat the fish, but that's okay, let's not go there. I am a friend, or at least that's the rumour I like to portray, and I'm a teacher. Who am I? Well, obviously I'm me. That's Mr. Shelton, not you, because you're not me. Anyway, what I'd like you to do now is to come up with a who am I about you. Thinking about the titles. So you might be a daughter, you might be a son, you might be... Anyway, I'm not going to give you any more ideas. I'd like to come up with ideas. 3 things that people can say about you. Okay, so I wonder what you've come up with. Interesting, isn't it? That when we think about this, then we start to think about the idea that who we are varies depending on the people we talk to. I've got some pictures to show you. What do you think this represents? I know it's a lifeguard, but what's going on? Okay, this picture is about Jesus being a saviour. Okay, fascinating that little picture. Obviously, the lifeguard's there to save the person. He doesn't look like he needs saving. He looks quite happy. But that's the idea. I didn't really want to put a picture of a drowning person. I thought it was a bit cruel. What about this? What's this show? Okay, this shows about being a father. So maybe Jesus obviously refers to God as Father. So we've got rescuer, we've got Father. What about this one? Yeah, leader. Jesus as a leader. What about this one? Okay, a little bit harder, that one. Lord, I was going with, like Lord of the Manor. Jesus has power, he has authority. All of these are titles about Jesus. What about this one? Had to go for a bit of an Avengers there. Okay, yeah, so you've got the idea about the sacrifice. Jesus came to die so that we could get to heaven. And lastly, okay, so Jesus is both the beginning and the end, the Alpha and the Omega as it's used in Greek. All of those are titles used about Jesus, and they all teach a little bit about who Jesus was and the authority and the power that he had. In the same way that your three I am expressions about you are all about you, and they show a little bit about who you are as well. Today we're thinking about titles given to Jesus. And there are quite a few there. You'll find in the description below this worksheet. I'd like you to have that in front of you because it's important that you've got that because you need to have an understanding of some of these titles. You may want to write some of them down. You may want to explain a few of them in your own words. That's absolutely fine. But do read them. Do get familiar with them. Maybe work out which one you think is the most helpful for Jesus in your world and which ones you think would be least helpful. Okay, so when you've looked at that, you'll also have seen in that description and that link, there is a word search. I'd like you to access that word search. What you are going to do is you're going to complete that word search. You're going to find the words. They are listed underneath. But the key thing is now is that you also, in your book, write those words out and explain what each of those show about Jesus. So what does Christ show about Jesus? What does God show about Jesus? What does holy show about Jesus? And so on. So I'd like you to go through that now. Get those words written down in your book. They're all titles given to Jesus, about Jesus. What do they show about Jesus? Okay, so we said it would be good if you could retell three titles used about Jesus. Hopefully you've got way more than three in your book now. Great if you can explain why titles add understanding to who Jesus was, and even better if you can match the titles with their correct definition. So you can see where we are going with that. So this is a little bit of homework that I'm going to throw in, because you can do this at home. You don't have to be in school to do that if you're watching this because you're self-isolating or just because you're watching it for fun, you strange people. I'd like you to conduct a 10-person survey about who they think Jesus is today. Now, obviously, Jesus isn't here today, possibly, but what you can do is say, well, who do you think Jesus was? And let's see if you can come up with a big list. Here's an interesting one for you. C.S. Lewis actually said that Jesus was either bad, mad, or God. He said he was either knew he wasn't God, and he went around telling people anyway because he was just bad. He was a terrible person, and he knew that it was going to cause a lot of suffering. Or he was mad. He genuinely believed he was the Son of God, but actually wasn't, and was a bit psychotic in that way. Well, the third thing that C.S. Lewis said is that he was God. He was the person he claimed to be. He can't just be a good teacher. That's what C.S. Lewis says. Because a good teacher wouldn't lie. That would make them bad. A good teacher wouldn't believe something to be true that wasn't true. That would make him mad. So if what Jesus says is true, then Jesus really was the Son of God. And that's the only other option available, according to C.S. Lewis, that is. So here we go. So what we've done so far then is we've basically covered our learning objectives. To finish off then, you're going to construct a little bingo list. You need to choose 6 words and write those down. And I'm going to go through 6 of them, and let's see if you can get all 6 down. But I'm going to give you the definitions, and you need to work out what the word is and then cross it off. And let's see if you can got the same 6 that I'm thinking about. What's the likelihood? Well, I'm sure there's some mathematicians out there that can work that out. Okay, so here we go with word number 1. Beginning and end. Beginning and end. If you've got Alpha and Omega, you've got one of the ones I was thinking of. Next one then, creator. Want another word about creator? Okay, that's maker. You've got someone who looks after something. Someone who looks after something. Okay, and that is a shepherd. Our fourth one then is, it means anointed one. Okay, and you've got that down as Christ. Okay, so hopefully you've got Christ then. The fourth one, this is to do with a sacrifice in the Old Testament where people got saved. They were saved through the blood of this animal in the festival of Passover. Okay, and that's lamb. And the very last one then is about the monarch, the person who rules over the world. Great, hopefully you've got king with that. And on that note, I'm going to leave it. Thanks very much for your time. Take care of yourself, stay safe, wash hands, God bless you. I'll see you soon.